Okay, so this is the season for us to do our snows retreat. In ancient India, there was the practice of the Sangha doing the rains retreat, or Varsa in Sanskrit. And so it was a 3-month retreat that was done over the summer, because in India you had the monsoon rains then, and they were just really torrential, and the fields were flooded, and the insects all came out. And so if the Sangha went on Pindapat, to gather their food in town, they were slipping and sliding in the fields and destroying the crops, and the lay people weren't at all happy. And plus a lot of insects were getting killed because they were walking around. So there was this custom of doing the rains retreat where you just stayed in one place for those 3 months. So coming to the West, our climate's completely different. We don't have long summer rains like that. We have winter snows. So we changed the rains retreat to the snows retreat, because the winter is actually a very good time to do a retreat here in the Northwest. So, according to the lunar calendar, we have to enter it the day after a new moon. So we did that just day after a full moon, I'm sorry. So we did that yesterday. And before that, the day before that, there's a beautiful ceremony where you pass sticks out to everybody, and then they return that in order to count how many people are doing the retreat. So the ceremonies, or the rites, are actually, it's hard to describe the impact they have until you do them. Yeah. I'm not somebody who usually likes rites and rituals and things like that, but these ones really speak to me in a way that is very surprising. And they start out, as does our bi-monthly confession. We start out with the incense offering. And you people came in, you were in the hall when we did our posada, and we did the incense offering. And it's a beautiful visualization, because you're saying when the incense in the urn is heated, the whole universe is perfumed. Yeah? And all the Buddhas sense it from afar. So you have this image of, all the Buddhas in their Pure Lands sensing this incense that's creating a very pure, fragrant environment. And then it says, when the sincere mind is present, then all the bodies, the entire bodies of the Buddha appear. So you have this sense of, when we have a sincere mind and we're creating a pure environment, meaning not an externally pure environment, although certainly cleaning the place we live is important, but an internally pure environment, then all the Buddhas sense it from afar and they come. And so when we're chanting this, which is done very slowly, I have this whole image of these, this fragrant environment and all these Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas coming to Sravasti Abbey. Yeah. And then, of course, on each atom, you duplicate the whole scene. And then you think that the larger scene that you've made is also duplicated everywhere else in the universe too. And so it becomes a really beautiful thing of inviting all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to the place where you are, so you can feel like you're there in their presence. And then we do the actual rite. And the rite is not complicated, and you pass out the sticks and you collect the sticks and you wash your hands and you wipe your hands. But everybody does it individually, saying these verses. And it's very beautiful, because you hear all these different voices. Yeah. So the voices of so many different sentient beings saying the same thing, but they're different voices, yeah. And that we're all as a community doing the same thing. It creates an incredible feeling of like joy and peace and harmony. So even though you're hearing everybody say the same thing over and over again, yeah, there's something very beautiful about it. And especially in the process, you know, when we're, you know, we're saying with a pure mind, I'm, you know, washing my hands. I'm not explaining the exact verses here, you know, but we're really saying, oh, with a pure mind I'm doing that, and I'm without fault and without, you know, degeneration in my ethical conduct. And just saying those words makes you think, oh, I can actually be like that, you know? Maybe, yeah, maybe my mind, okay, it's not perfectly pure, but it's like better than usual, and sure better than it used to be, and it can get even better than this. So it you know, is really very reinforcing and encouraging for us. And then it just brings us very much together as a community. And also knowing that the Sangha has been doing this ceremony yearly since the time of the Buddha. So that's like almost 2,600 years. Yeah. And so, you know, every generation or every year, whatever Sangha communities there are doing this exact same rite and keep, you know, going into the snows retreat or rains retreat together. And so it puts what you're doing within a perspective of being the fruit of the endeavors of, you know, countless nameless people. You know, we don't even know the names of these people who, you know, lived before us, but who did this. And then we're doing it now, and then knowing that we want very much to pass it on to future generations so they can have the beauty and experience the beauty of doing these ceremonies. So it puts your life as a monastic in this framework of, you know, the continuity of the Buddha's teachings from the Buddha into the future. Yeah, quite moving. Yeah. So the snows retreat that we do as a monastic community is different than the Abbey's winter retreat, even though there is an overlap of time. The Abbey's winter retreat is the, you know, whatever retreats, meditation retreats we happen to be doing in a particular year. This year it's Yamantaka and Manjushri. And there we invite, you know, guests to come to the Abbey and do the retreats with us 1 month or 3 months or whatever. So that's the Abbey's winter retreat. It's part of it overlaps with our snows retreat, our monastic retreat, which goes from one full moon to another full moon. But it's different because it's for monastics and it has a slightly different purpose to it. Okay. Would any of you who participated like to add anything about your experience or your thoughts? Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so to add from what I said yesterday, that because in the Tibetan tradition it seems like there's never been a functioning bhikshuni sangha, you know, a sangha of fully ordained nuns, because all the nuns in the Tibetan tradition are novices. They don't have the fully ordained lineage. That we're practicing in the Tibetan tradition, but our Vinaya tradition is the one from Chinese Buddhism. So we seem to be the only group, only Bhikshuni Sangha in the Tibetan tradition that is practicing this, at least at this particular time. Yeah, I don't know of any other, Bhikshuni Sanghas like this. So we're really quite fortunate, I think, and unique in that way. Yeah. Do you want to say something? Okay.
I think for me yesterday, what really stood out as we did the Varsa rite, was the feeling of such connected harmony between all of us. And I was thinking last night about how that's so rare in my life, of all the places and circumstances that I was in, to consciously agree among everyone that we're going to do the next 3 months, the next 90 days in harmony, and to consciously put that forward. It's not something I have done before now. And like Venerable was saying, just the power of setting that strong intention among everyone was powerful and very beautiful, and I think very rare, very rare. And I think the results of that will be quite significant and beneficial.